Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank all of you for your service to the country. You've all done so many extraordinary things for us. My fellow Hoosier, Congressman Booyer is here. Thank you for all of your work, and to all of you. I also want to say the importance of the extended care that you're providing for exceptional family members. What you have done in that area is really significant and will change lives for family after family. General Corelli, I wanted to ask you about the Unified Drug Formulary between DOD and VA. You have done exceptional work in trying to stop the scourge of suicide, and you have worked tirelessly to provide solutions and answers here. And if you would tell us a little bit the challenge when you transfer from DOD to VA with the drug formulary and what that is causing.
Well, thank you for that question, Senator. I really appreciate that. When I was Vice Chief of Staff of the Army, I had no idea that there were two different drug formularies between DOD and VA. I really believed that every single soldier who used drugs the way they were supposed to, who had post-traumatic stress or traumatic brain injury and was taking an off-label antidepressant that was developed 30 to 40 years ago, not for the disease that they had, that their doctor had to work through a whole bunch of different drugs to get them to the right one, that when they showed up at their VA on day one, they would be able to provide that prescription to the doctor and he would automatically refill it. That is not the case. We have two different drug formularies. DOD has a very expansive, just about anything FDA has approved, they can prescribe, and they do. And when an individual finally gets on the right drug at the right dosage and goes over to the VA, many, many times in this particular area, antipsychotics, antidepressants, anti-pain medications, they find themselves in a situation where the doctor looks at them and says, I'm sorry, I cannot refill that prescription. Now, you're going to hear a lot of different stories from folks, but I continue to have soldiers come to me, sailors, airmen, and Marines today. Just last week, I met with one for coffee that had the exact same thing happen to him. And if there's anything we could fix to get at this suicide problem, it would be to make sure that once we get a kid on the right drug, at the right dosage, wherever he goes in the system, he is able to get that same drug and not be told, I'm sorry, that's not in our drug formulary.
Isn't there also a confidence factor for that person, that they feel comfortable with the drugs they're receiving, with the treatment they're on, and changing it up is like a life-changing experience? Most
of them don't, Senator. What they do is they go find a private doc to go ahead and give them the prescription, and they pay for it out of pocket. So here we've told them, we're going to take care of you. We really care for your service. This is your benefit. And they go over and they say, I'm sorry, you can't have that drug. And I'm telling you, no one cares if you get St. Joseph aspirin in DOD and Bayer aspirin in the Army, in VA. That's not an issue. But on this drug formulary issue for antidepressants, antipsychotics, pain medications, these things that you have to be weaned off of, we should not put our servicemen and women in this situation when they transfer over to the VA. And if it's not on the drug formulary, somebody should hand them a card and say, go to your local pharmacy and get the drug.
As a general, and all of you know, we are losing 22 veterans a day to suicide. In the active duty, we lost 132 young men and women to combat in 2013. We lost 475 to suicide, almost 4 times as many. So your efforts on this are life-changing. I would like to then follow up with a question. As we transition from DOD to VA for a number of our young men and women, obviously there are electronic health record challenges. What do you think is the next largest challenge we have to tackle and knock out?
Senator Donnelly, thank you very much for the question. We spent a lot of time talking about DOD-VA collaboration and what that really means, what effect it has on the health care for veterans. I'm going to ask Commissioner Booyer to speak to the specifics of that question first.
Great, thank you.
When you look at our recommendation 8, Senator Donnelly, we're asking that the Joint Executive Committee have, that has authority, it just doesn't have power now, and that's a pure heterodox. And we're asking that you give it statutory power to actually implement the recommendations. And when we met with Secretary McDonald, two things that we learned. One is they said, we agree with the commission, but could you also, this wasn't in our recommendation, and I throw this to you because I anticipate the Secretary of VA would say, I'd like to have parity. So when the Joint Executive Committee meets, you have the deputy of the VA meets with the Undersecretary of Personnel. They're not. It's not the same. Mm-hmm. And if you raise that so that the Deputy Secretary of the VA and the Deputy Secretary of DOD meet at the Joint Executive Committee and give them power with their authority with the power to implement, big difference. So with regard to the blended recommendations and the exact antidepressants or antipsychotics that General Corelli spoke of, or pain medications, let the experts make that decision with regard to where in the formulary it should be blended. With regard to large capital projects, never again should we have the scenario whereby we all struggled trying to get the timelines for the building of an Army hospital and a VA hospital. That shouldn't ever occur to us again. With regard to your question, what do you really anticipate, Steve, the biggie that's gonna happen next? It really is this challenge as the country moves to set these national standards for the electronic health record. So we have this scenario whereby you are responsive with regard to the VA and the scheduling debacle. We said that we'll move to this choice program, Senator McCain, that you talked about, and we'll have this increase of more non-VA care. When you look back at when you were on the committee in 2004 in the House on Veterans Affairs, around the 2004-05 timeframe, we were spending about $400 million for non-VA care. Today, $6 billion? I mean, it's only going up. So think of this. DOD has a contract let to create their own new version of their electronic health record. VA is doing the evolution of VISTA, and they're trying, and they want to make sure as they move to their new programs that they have data standards so they can be bidirectional. At the same time, the VA is doing more non-VA-based care in the private sector, and in order for there to be continuity of care, those private docs have to be able to communicate then with the VA. So we're talking about bidirectional, and so they can communicate. That's a huge challenge. Now in DOD, as they move to their new electronic health record, and as we make recommendations to you to move toward the selection of plans, we're also meaning there's going to be a lot of care provided in the private sector. So this setting of national standards on how the country will communicate is extremely important. And that's what I would see, Senator Donnelly, as what's the biggie that's about to come? It's about your leadership, about setting those national standards.
Thank you to all of you, and thank you for your extraordinary service across the board. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.